So the footnotes in the Rosh Hashanah Matzah, actually, that's the first place I'm going to go. Because actually the Aleinu prayer originally started off as a Rosh Hashanah prayer. And in the footnotes in the Machzah, it says as follows. Aleinu was originally written specific for Rosh Hashanah to serve as a prelude to the verses of Malchiot, which talks about the kingship of Hashem. It was edited by Rav, the great 3rd century rabbi, one of the heads of the Babylonian Academy from which emerged the Babylonian Talmud. He was one of the great architects of the Rosh Hashanah prayers, and part of the prayer we say Aleinu l'shabech. It's our duty to praise La'adon HaKol, the Master of all, and it's a way of again giving praise to Hashem. We say in it, we bow in worship and thank the Supreme King of Kings. And historically, we would actually bow down in shul on the floor at those points. We now only do that on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And the reason given is because particularly on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, as Shosh said earlier, we're particularly close to Hashem at that point in time. So that's why we do this. But the Aleinu prayer during the rest of the year was incorporated into our daily prayers in the 12th or 13th century. And it's become a custom to bring all services to a close with this. And just to give some framework, the Aleinu, which, as I said, Aleinu, the literal translation means it is on us. And then Aleinu Shabbat, I don't know if it's on us to give praise to Hashem. It's and the two paragraphs are composed in different styles and at different times, and together make a striking statement of the particularity of Jewish faith and its universal aspiration for humanity. The first paragraph, as we said, was used in the Rosh Hashanah Amidah, and it's less a prayer than a declaration of faith, speaking of a singular vocation of the Jewish people as bearers of the message of monotheism. And the second paragraph turns to Hashem and the future, to a time when all humanity will acknowledge the one God, a vision eloquently spoken of by the prophet Zechariah, from whose book the final verse is taken, which says, sing along with me, that just says, and it says, and that means then the Lord shall be king over all the earth. On that day the Lord shall be one and his name one. There's also another phrase in the second paragraph, which has now become a very popular phrase in modern Judaism, and that is, it says, our purpose on the world, let me just get it in front of me, the Sakein Olam of Malchus Shabbat. It's on our obligation when the world will be perfected under the sovereignty of Hashem. We have an obligation, which in more modern parlance would be said of Tikkun Olam. That is taken from this prayer. It says, L'sakein Olam, or L'takein Olam, to fix the world for Malchus Shabbat, according to the leadership, the mastery, the kingship of Hashem. And that's our obligation to improve society. And the Mishnah in the Tractate of Gittin talks, a series of Mishnahs, I can't remember if it's the 4th or 6th chapter, I think it's the 4th chapter, goes through saying all of the enactments that the rabbis of the Mishnah period brought in order, l'takein olam, to improve society. So that phrase, that concept, goes way back, and we talk about it in the Aleinu prayer.